what we are discussing today is that now we are hearing that bandits, Fulani bandits are celebrating as a cash out to release the Niger 130 students. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that is a developing story anyway, but it's not new to millions of Nigeria out there, considering the fact that the federal government themselves has taken a soft landing for these terrorists who are majorly from the north. Yes, that's the fact. Destabilizing the country, disaliving millions of people. What is much important at this point in time is what is the mission of the federal government in this whole issue, trying at every point in time to secure their release. They are not coming out to tell us how this release is actually done, whether there was something behind it, whether the money was paid or whatever at the end of the day. So it is complicating and a complex issue on the stand of the federal government over the issue of terrorism. Yes, it is a happy time for the families of those who were released to be happy. I actually agreed with that, but if they are playing this kind of role, it that means the money that was budgeted for security in Nigeria budget is likely going to go for the issue that has to do with paying of ransom and all the rest. So is this actually gang related? Has it become a tradition and culture, in enriching some people, or what? Nigerians deserve to know, because by the time you come out to pay this ransom to these people, yes, you are empowering them. You are giving them lifeline. You are showing that no, that we can no longer do anything at the end of the day. So it is somehow very disturbing that federal government has taken a position to continue to pay ransom. When you pay ransom, then they will use that money to acquire more arms, to acquire more logistics, to be able to be carrying out this type of attacks, hoping that the federal government will continue to pay ransom. It is not a good deal, per se. But what is very important in here is that how active is our intelligence agencies in Nigeria? How active is the military? How active is the police? How active is with all the structures that have to do with security in Nigeria? Let me give you an instance. Those who are invisibly powering these terrorists are more dangerous than those who carry out their acts, because there's no how you talk about the release without people standing in for these people. And most of the transactions that have been done is done through a certain banking process. And even after these things have been done or release have been secured, ransom paid, what are the federal government doing to make sure that they stop it completely, or those who are allegedly to be involved in the process are arrested and persecuted? Let it not be very clear that the federal government at present have come to accept the responsibility that this is the only thing that we know how to do, because by the time you make it very clear to them that the continuity of paying ransom, kidnapping and releasing them in whatever means does not show any form of seriousness on the side of the federal government, which main fundamentality or fundamental is the protection of life and property.
Now, why are bandits able to freely negotiate huge ransom payments within Nigerian territory without consequences?
That is a very big question. I love that without consequences. That's the question that the Nigerian government need to answer by themselves. And most of these terrorists have always pointed a clear finger on government officials being behind the act of kidnapping of victims and the process of paying ransom. So it is very difficult at this point whereby it is clear that the government officials, let me just put it that way, because citing the recent one that just happened in Kwara, where they were actually caught, and the confession came through one of them that the office of the Niger Intelligence Agency, under the supervision of Nuhu Ribadu, was directly involved in this act of disaliving thousands, millions of Nigerians on daily basis. So it's not for the government to decide, what are the consequences are. We have heard very clearly that the president is even saying at this point in time that there is no death sentence, has been projected in the Senate for the terrorists. Federal government is saying there's no death sentence for those, who are trying or who have been involved in this act of terrorism. No death sentence for them. Then the question is, if there's no death sentence to them, that means there's no trial for them. Then how come we saw a clear-cut speedy trial on IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who the whole world has come to recognize as not a terrorist organization? Then if you're saying there's no death sentence for them, the federal government is planning, or they have automatically cancelled anything that has to do, it means there is more to this. It means there's something that we don't know that is engineering or that's watering this whole process of killings, genocide, and attacks on civilians in Nigeria. Very clearly, we are personally, I know very clearly that it's not about terrorism, it's not about this thing, but I know that there's a clear-cut plan to carry out a certain interest that benefits a section of the country, or trying to carry out a kind of a conquest agenda in disguise. That's the picture. Because I don't see the reason why on every now and then, people are being kidnapped and the government is coming to say, yes, they have been released, you have secured their release. What is the process of securing their release? Was there, when we have seen on clear note that the government is saying they didn't pay, how come? We have seen a notorious bandit, Tojibelo, while he was still on the operation field of carrying out attacks against unarmed civilians, making a call to government officials of what is being and how much they are supposed to pay him. And if they don't do that, he's going to carry an attack. And the funniest thing is that he does these things with phone. The intelligence unit of Nigeria seems to don't care about it. So the consequences is what the federal government have come out to clear. There's no consequences for that. So we are in for more trouble. If there's no consequences for those who kill thousands of millions of Nigerians, send them to IDP camp. There's no consequences. There shouldn't be anything that has to do with death sentence for them and all that. Wow, that's a serious one. And Nigerians should be understanding very clearly that their lives probably may not matter again to the system that claim that they are in government.
Now, is ransom payment now an acceptable strategy by government, or a sign of a failed state?
One, a sign of a failed state. Two, incompetency in the military structure, in the security structure. Three, compromise. Four, a room for continuous Islamization agenda. Yes, because you can see some of them coming out recently. I mean, notable, and the ones you can see physically from the north, coming out to say clearly that they are no longer Boko Haram, they are no longer bandits, they are freedom fighters. That's the new narrative now. We started with Boko Haram, later it becomes banditry or bandits. Then from bandit now they are freedom fighters. But the real fact is that what is the mission of these people from the northern region of this country taking down lives on daily basis? What is their mission? Are they actually freedom fighters? Is it the reason why government said there is no death sentence for them? Then if there is no death sentence for them, then what happened to people who do not kill people, who do not carry arms, who are only sin is that they don't want to be part of Nigeria anymore? Then the government quickly, sentence such figure to life imprisonment. Nigeria is already divided, no matter how you look at it, whereby you can see clearly they are beginning to institutionalize the culture of ransom payment to terrorists.
Now, you made mention that before now we know them as Boko Haram, which is correct. We now have to know them again as Bandits, which is a paper clip. Now they have changed down to say freedom fighters. Let me ask a question. What freedom, whose freedom are they fighting? Is it like kidnapping? Or what? I want to understand, let the public understand what particular freedom are they fighting here?
I think, because of the international pressure, because of the position of the international community on what is happening in Nigeria and the possibility of the consequences of genocide in Nigeria. So they are trying to change the narrative just to deceive or create a certain perception that yes, you are the one that is saying they are bandits, you are the one that is saying they are Boko Haram. They are not Boko Haram. These are people who are fighting for the autonomy of Islam in their region. That's the narrative now. So if you are at that point, they are also seeking for own freedom. Then what stops the federal government from carrying out a referendum in Nigeria? Since it has become clear, the northern political class are now coming out to defend that there's nothing like killing. They are not bandits, they are not Boko Haram, they are freedom fighters. So what does that actually mean? It means, that they have gotten to the point where their agenda is being seen to become very significant in the fulfillment of Islamization agenda in Nigeria. And they are coming out clearly to say that, they are freedom fighters. But another narrative to it is that if they are freedom fighters, as they claim currently now, why are they now invading other regions? Are they invading other regions in the sense that the 250 million Nigerians was come under this Islamic conquest agenda?
Now, another thing is that who is financing this bandit? Who is financing this bandit group and what benefits are they considering?
Yeah, no, it has to do with human capital development, one. It has to do with resource control, two. It has to do with, the search for Islamization that is already going on all over the world now. You can see what happened in Australia. You can see what is happening in the Middle East. You can also see what is happening in UK and US. The same people now, trying to establish a caliphate of Islam in all the nations of the world. So it has become a sort, where they will create this agenda clearly. And if you fail to see, go and ask anybody, what is the meaning of Islam? What does Islam mean? What is the translation? Islam means that anybody that is opposed to Muhammad or whoever, must be subdued, must surrender. And if you fail to surrender to it, you must die. That's the meaning of Islam. And they are making it very clear that, you cannot be part of us. We cannot be in the same country where you are practicing a different faith while we are practicing a different state. If we are to be in one country, everybody must practice one particular faith. Then, why is it that the Christians are not imposing Christianity on the North? Why is the North trying to impose Islam on the rest of the South? You can see the sponsors are everywhere. Government officials are involved. Other Arab nations are involved. Iran is involved. None of them, they are the one. Even they either do it for political interest and also do it for economic interest. The economic interest has to do with the issue of resources. The political angle of it is that everybody, if you're not a Muslim, you cannot take up a governorship position in Nigeria. If you're not a Muslim, you cannot be a senator. If you're not a Muslim, you cannot be a senate president. If you're not a Muslim, you cannot be a president. In a secular society like Nigeria, and everybody is keeping quiet, and that is why there's a clear conspiracy against Mazen Namdekano. Who saw this in and begin to voice resistance to this clear-cut agenda? The West, the Yorubas might not have problem with it, because you can see what is happening somewhere in Osun. They are already flying Iranian flag everywhere today in Osun State. You know, they are identifying with Islam. And most of them, whether you like it or not, you know, 70% of them, look at somebody coming out to say, oh, the entire governors in Southwest must be Muslims. So what does that tell you? So the only problem, they are not even seeing the Westerners, the Yorubas are the problem. The only mission they have at this point in time is to make sure that the entire Biafran land surrender to Islam. Then there will be peace. Then every atom of conquest has been fulfilled. And that is why the whole world is watching. You can see globally now, there's an uprising against anything that has to do with Islam. In the United States, there's an uprising. In the UK, the same thing. You know, they are beginning to question. And it's part of it, because when you begin to empower radicalization, these are the consequences. Radical Muslims. No, you can hardly see radical Christians. It's not saying that Christians cannot be radicalized. Christianity can be radicalized. But everybody will just have to die once. But that is the picture. The more the United Nations recognize this, and now they are fanning the ember that they are freedom fighters. Why can't the United Nations, the AU and the ECOWAS come out clearly and carry out a publicity in Nigeria, where these people will be determined and be given their own country to go and practice whatever they want to practice? Look at in Saudi Arabia now, any radicalized Muslim is being deported. I think currently now they are deporting over 200,000 Pakistanians from Saudi Arabia, because they are to be seen not to be practicing radicalized Islam. All those countries that are practicing radicalized Islam are the ones fueling the Islamization agenda in Nigeria. That every Igbo man, every Biafran must come under Islamic conquest. Then the agenda might have been fulfilled. But I can tell you, it will be very difficult. And that is what we are seeing that is triggering these killings on a daily basis. And because it is being believed that the structure of Nigerian government is being centered on Sharia. And the US government is saying, we don't want Sharia and we want total abolition of the Sokoto Caliphate. And with the North themselves have come out and rejected it. So, if they do not act otherwise, and look at it, now we are seeing this thing circulating all over the world now. Go anywhere in the world now. You can see the Australian president, unfortunately, in Hanukkah celebration in Sydney, you know, an radical Muslim opened fire and killed thousands of people. And it was the same president that went to the United Nations General Assembly and endorsed Hamas. Today, as at yesterday, he tendered an unreserved apology to Israel. Keir Starmer of UK went to the United Nations General Assembly Britain, a Christian nation for instance, and recognize just simply because they are the one that planted and created Palestine. There was nothing Palestine in the Middle East ab initio. So for political reasons, you allow people to die. Today, Britain is on the run. Israel has withdrawn their security support for Britain today. As I'm talking to you now, they have cancelled anything that has to do with Britain in their life. As I yesterday, currently now, Benjamin Netanyahu is in United States of America because if these powerful nations does not stand tall against what is happening, you will be surprised that in just a twinkle of an eye, Nigeria will become another Turkey in history. To conquer a nation is very simple, and I can tell you the signs are there. When you see the likes of all those Okalo, Umahi, Benjamin Kalu, and all the Eastern politicians coming out to start kicking against Biafra, that's for political reason, know fully well that the political conquest has, not only political conquest, the Islamic Fulani political conquest have infiltrated the eastern part of the country. And that is the fear. And that is why there's a clear-cut conspiracy to put Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa to silence them. But another angle of it is that, they will be surprised that if they push this reality to a certain level, it will backfire because forces that are going to enter Nigeria to defend Biafra land, Nigeria will not believe it. And I'm telling you, the world will support it. It's not going to be like 1967, where the entire world fought a tribe. Not even a nation, just a tribe. The whole world fought a tribe. Therefore, it cannot repeat itself again. And I can tell you, the Igbos are the sixth most traveled tribe in the world. Sixth most traveled tribe in the world. Fourth richest tribe in the whole world. So it's not going to be funny. Anybody, I can tell you, nobody is depending on Eastern governors. Nobody is depending on Eastern politicians anymore. I can tell you that 75% of Eastern youth have lost credibility on these so-called politicians. The only person that is recognized who is law and order in the Igbo land, in the Biafra land today is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Whether they like it or not, but that's the fact. And I can tell you in honest truth, we don't want to know anything about this Okalo. We don't want to know this one. We don't know them, and we will not know them because they are not protecting us. Somewhere in Enugu today, the entire two local government is under the siege of Fulani herdsmen currently now. No single person is living in that community till today. And when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu talk about ESN, instead of them, but look at how significant Omateku is. They are about recruiting 50,000. And they said, no, we will not bring a Muslim to agitate for Yoruba nation. Which, whether it has died or not, well, some people will say he's coming back. He's coming back. We don't know what that actually means. The question is that, why didn't we see a Muslim in Yoruba land championing Oduduwa Republic? It's because they are aligning with the Sokoto Caliphate. All these things you are saying, Bola Ahmed Tinubu doing, whether he's sympathizing or not, all these things are not true. The real picture, the real mission is in him. And that is why he was able to give the entire Eastern region one minister. And a state in Southwest Ogun State have 5 ministers. And the likes of all these Okalo and the rest of them will come to the public and sing Tinubu praise. It's unfortunate that the Igbos, I wouldn't say that the Igbos are cowards, but these politicians Eastern governors, politicians, they are the ones that are cowards. Yes. Well, if you look at the days of Ezife, them, Chukwemeke Ezife, you look at those men in those days, Chubok Kadibo, them, and not the rest of them. This is where we have brave, Igbo politicians. But now, if you don't go to Caliphate, to the north, to take permission, you cannot become a senator. If you don't go to the north to take permission, you cannot become a governor. Look at Soludo saying that it was Senadua family that made him governor. Soludo. Look at Hope Uzodinma coming out to tell us that it was Abba Kyari that made him governor. So what are we talking about? How then do we now reconcile that the governor of a Ebonyi state was not made governor by the same caliphates? And these are the organizations the United States of America has labeled terrorist organization. Nobody mentioned that to you. And the president is saying that there is no death sentence for terrorists in Nigeria. Thank you and God bless you.